Oh, no. Are you God? I'm dead? I'm dead. Not yet. They're trying to revive you, but you're fine. Your passport princess put something in your cup and you passed out. What? Why'd she do that? She thinks you're lame just like the American women do. You tried to bait her with your money and she thought it would be easier just to rob you than to marry you. Good thing you were lying about your money, right? She's up in your room rambling through your stuff right now. Lord, please wake me up. Oh no, my child. You need to hold this L. Lord, why you do the passport bros like this? Don't blame me. While you're down there, you need to be working on your character. Learn effective communication. Work on yourself. And know that in a real relationship, you're required to submit to your partner as they submit unto you. It's a team. Lord, with all due respect, I'm a masculine alpha male with a podcast and a passport. I will not submit to any woman. Oh, so just they do the submissions. Is that what it is? All these buddy pass flights to South America ain't gonna help you. Are you looking for love, or are you trying to find somebody to dominate? Because it's gonna be hard doing that at your income and your attitude. It shouldn't take that long to answer. Get out of my office.
Good evening. Thank you for joining me here with Conversations with Taz for Think About It Thursdays. Now, we're going to kick this off with a bang. If you all remember, there was a racist University of Kentucky student. We did a whole series on her because there was just so much information coming out. Baby, I have the long-awaited update. You may have seen a little snippet of it if you follow me over on TikTok, but let's get all the way into it tonight. This is coming from lex18.com. Former UK student caught on camera using racial slurs indicted. A former University of Kentucky student, who was caught on video calling another student racial slurs and kicking her has been indicted on multiple counts, according to court records. The video of the incident went viral last year. In it, Sophia Rosing, who is white, can be seen repeatedly calling another student, Kyla Spring, a racial slur. Spring, who is black, was working the overnight shift at the front desk of Boyd Hall when Rosing tried to get into the building. Rosing appeared to be drunk, and Spring was required to call a resident advisor to check on her. Spring said in a TikTok video after the incident, Rosing became violent and called her racial slurs. Spring said in the video, "This week, a grand jury indicted Rosing on 3 counts of 4th-degree assault and 1 count each of 3rd-degree assault of a police officer, 2nd-degree disorderly conduct, and alcohol intoxication." The indictment accuses Rosing of kicking and hitting Spring, causing her physical injury. Rosing is also accused of biting and kicking a UK police officer, according to the indictment, as well as biting and hitting 2 other people. The disorderly conduct charges stem from the accusation Rosing engaged in fighting, violent, and tumultuous behavior in the lobby of Boyd Hall on UK's campus, according to the indictment. Let us not forget that she was also going cuckoo and being extremely racist and classist at a bar shortly before she got to Boyd Hall. So I don't know if other people are going to pop up and want charges pressed, or if they're going to take some civil action against Miss Mama as well, in addition to, or not. But looks like she fucked around and looks like she's finding out. I love this for her. I love this. Happy Black History Month. Don't play with us in 2023. Do not play with us in 2023. This ain't the time, okay? Problematic people, beware. We are not here for your shenanigans at all. No ma'am, no ham, no Pam, no sir. Now I got another update for y'all. If you remember, a couple days ago, there was an update of the McDonald's ketchup Karen who was exposing herself. And I told y'all, I didn't believe it. Something seemed hinky. It seemed like there was some satire. One of these days, y'all gonna listen to me. I told you, if it don't smell right, it ain't right. Take a looky-loo at this.
You know, sometimes I'll see a video and it feels just a little too perfect. Like it has too many of the elements that I would be looking for, and that seems suspicious to me. A lot of times I won't do a video on it because of that. And then other times I'll make a video and I'll push it out into the universe just to see what the universe kicks back. And that's what I did with this.
Ketchup, and I thought, what is this? What is this? This is so much ketchup.
So much ketchup, it has everything. Karen behavior dialed to 11. The entitlement, the haircut, that vest, and then the person coming out and outing themselves and making a video taking zero responsibility.
People found out where I work and they sent the video to my employer. I was then fired from my job.
See, that was part of the red flag for me. I hadn't even seen the original video when I saw this video where she was complaining how she had been found and fired. It kind of felt like enough time hadn't gone by for that to happen yet. But according to Tammy, that's exactly what happened. Only it's all bullshit. From the original video to the follow-up video to her being named Tammy. Though it does rhyme with Sammy, who lives in her van and interviews people. I went ahead and covered up her phone number and email that are on that page because I feel like she's going to get a lot of unwanted attention. And to be fair, she's not like hiding this really. That's the video, the original Karen video right there. And I also want to be clear, I don't think there's anything wrong with someone making up a character and doing bits on the internet. I think that's great. I do kind of have a problem with the prank videos thing, which this kind of falls under. That is to say, Sammy was in on it, the camera operator was in on it. Was the McDonald's staff in on it? I mean, no presumption of privacy in a public space, but this is a skit bit that you're using them for. Did they know that this was all just a prank? Did you order too much ketchup on the burger and then come in and insult them for being bad at their job? Or did you put ketchup on the burger in the parking lot and then come in and insult them for being bad at their job? Last but certainly not least, there's that smashed burger. Did you clean that up? Or did they have to clean that up because you remained in character and I would assume stormed off? Because that's pretty shitty. Like that, and the way you were speaking to them is what people had a problem with in the video. And it being real or fake doesn't really change that. I really don't think anyone should send her any hate. But the same, I would say, I think you can make better skits and so forth that maybe don't involve being abusive to people who are just working a job to pay their bills.
See, there are too many things that get too much popularity and too much notoriety and too much clout online that it does make me kind of side eye a lot of things. If you all remember last year, the whole baby mama, baby daddy McDonald's thing. And I was like, this seems a little off. And everybody was going crazy all over the internet. Just like when those two videos and people were clipping them and getting all on this woman about no accountability, and people were like, oh, Taz, why aren't you saying anything about it? Because just like I told y'all on this show, something wasn't right in Denmark. Not saying I'm always going to be correct, but I'd rather sit back and wait and listen to my gut than jump out in the middle of traffic and get messed up. You know. But let's keep it rolling. As always, we got some more Elon Musk news. He is the gift that I wish would stop giving.
Tech billionaire Elon Musk, pictured here after seeing a loan officer at a party, is in the news as he continues his speed run of collapsing a multi-billion-dollar company. He's got a few on the go right now, but this time we're talking about Twitter, his magnum opus of failure. So for starters, he is boiling through money, as he just had to make the first payments on a number of his loans. You see, he borrowed the money to buy Twitter, and now his annual interest payments alone are around $1.2 billion. Prior to Musk coming along, the company only had to pay about $100 million in annual interest, but now it's grown by about 12 times. But don't worry though, I'm sure he's put together a bunch of new revenue streams to cover those costs. Except he hasn't at all. You may remember that his primary plan to make Twitter more profitable is Twitter Blue, selling blue check marks for $8 a pop, or sometimes 11, it's weird. One snag, according to one report, they only have 180,000 total subscribers, 0.2% of the website's active users. Now, worth noting, those 180,000 appear to just be in the United States, based on some estimates that suggest that there are about 290,000 Twitter Blue subscribers worldwide, suggesting that the website's earning just under $30 million a year from all of their paid subscriptions, or roughly 1/10 of one loan payment. Nailing it. Weird how expecting everybody to pay for something that they currently get for free isn't working. I, for one, am shocked. Of course, Musk has a new plan to make sure that everybody pays for things that are already free, by charging businesses $1,000 a month for gold verification badges, and an extra $50 a month for each affiliated account. That's right, folks. If you want a gold checkmark, you can pay $1,000 a month. Who wants to miss that opportunity? But don't worry, though. The business genius is surely making money hand over fist. Except the fact that Fidelity just slashed their valuation of Twitter by 56%. Literally just during the first month of Elon Musk's ownership. So specifically, Fidelity valued its Twitter shares at $53.47 million on October 31st, and then on November 30th, they revalued those at $23.46, which is one of the only public estimations we have of Twitter's value anymore. And as you can see, things are going great. Business genius.
Keep telling you all, stop equating wealth with intelligence and business prowess. But also, I also want to bring something else to you all's attention. Be careful who you give your money to when it comes to food services, restaurants, etc. Because a lot of y'all are paying a whole lot for something that's heat and serve. Prime example, the Peach Cobbler Factory.
Okay guys, so while I'm here at the Peach Cobbler Factory still, I'm not going to work here much longer, but I just want to let you know, nothing is homemade, nothing. Straight from we just throw brown sugar on it. New York style cheesecake, the red velvet, the just regular Shirley cake, the disgusting ice cream, it's not good. This is the buttercream, everything is pre-made. The coconut cream, it's pre-made. We make nothing besides the stuff for the tea. There's our mangoes, cherries, oranges. Now these are the cobblers we leave out, so when y'all get those blackberry peach and stuff, it's the cobblers that have been sitting out all day. Cinnamon rolls, cookies. Trash right beside everything.
And what really blows my mind, when I was sent this video, I was just sent the link to it, so I got a chance to go back and go through the comment section. There were people that were like, oh, I was just there the other day and I paid insert this price for this and it tastes great. Like, y'all could have just went to Costco or Sam's Club and got the ingredients yourself. Sprinkle a little brown sugar on there. Now, there were some people who were smart, like, oh, you just put brown sugar on this? Oh, y'all just heat it up for this amount? Like, oh, I'll just do this at home. That's like going to the Cheesecake Factory And the Cheesecake Factory is selling you Sara Lee cheesecake from Kroger. I'm not talking for them having a large bakery somewhere and, prepackaging and sending it. They're not even using their own, if I open a bakery and call it Taz's Sweet Treats, you would be pissed and ready to riot if I went and just did some heat and serve and I'm charging you $6 to $20 for things. Come on, y'all. Spend your money better. I'm not trying to, stifle anybody's pockets, but come on. Come on. When I go to Starbucks, you can see that the stuff is clearly prepackaged. When I go to a little convenience store to get some, I see that the baked goods are prepackaged. If I'm going to a restaurant, I'm sorry, and people trying to make excuses, like, well, most restaurants, this is why you don't smell anything baking. First of all, they usually bake the day before, early in the morning, or they're in conjunction with another bakery. And they're not telling you that, hey, we're the Peach Cake Factory and this is all homemade. But y'all will get mad because your 99-cent rally burger doesn't look like the commercial. I digress. Now, boy, do we have a lot to get into tonight. But there is another racist that has been exposed, and I need to make you all aware of this person. Be forewarned.
It's amazing how brave people are, thinking the internet is a safe space for their bigotry and racism. Let's fix that.
The Shire was full of simple white folk. Not a Jew or Negro for hundreds and hundreds of miles. Stories of far-off trannies and homosexuals were told.
Everyone meet Matt. When Matt's not posting about wanting a white ethno-state, Matt is posting his kids' basketball games all across his TikTok channel. Matt also uses his TikTok channel to express other racist views.
This is the sound of guys working in my neighborhood.
As you can probably guess, the roofers were not playing that music. Matt added that sound to his video with the TikTok sound feature. If we look deeper into Matt, you'll start to see what I meant about people thinking that the internet is a safe place for their racism and bigotry, because like most racists, Matt presents as a two-faced person. He has his online activity in which he puts his bigotry and racism on full display, thinking that nothing is going to happen, that he is untouchable because it's online. And then he has his public persona in which he tries to pretend like he cares about the communities that he is mocking online and making racist jokes about. Because here he is doing an entire interview pretending like he cares about the Cuban people, when in reality he's using it for social clout to plug the aviation business that he used to own. And I say used to own because that's not what Matt does now. Matt is currently a real estate agent in Melbourne, Florida for Waterman Real Estate. And I point this out because Matt is going to have Jewish people and black people approaching him looking for his services. And he is going to put on a smiling face and take their money while mocking them online. Because racists will happily make themselves rich off the backs of the people they hate. So if you are Jewish, black, or a person of color, Matt more than likely will sell you a house. He'll just make sure it's not in the same neighborhood that he's in. And I'd also like to point out that if Matt is willing to make these videos with his full name and face on the internet, it's very unlikely that his boss and coworkers at Waterman Real Estate don't know his views. So if I were you and you were looking to buy or sell a house, I would steer clear of Waterman Real Estate. Because if they're willing to employ someone who is so open about his racist views, I'm pretty sure they agree with his views.
But racism died when Obama became president, right? When black people were able to be millionaires, because they always forget about Mansa Musa. Now, I touched on it a little bit yesterday, but we're going to get into it tonight. Ron DeSantis has assembled his woke busters And no, this is not an SNL skit playing off of the Ghostbusters. I wish it was. I really wish it was. But I told you all, DeSantis is far more tyrannical than Trump. This is... Pay attention and make sure you all vote.
Okay, imagine this. You send your child to school. Now, the teachers and the student aides and stuff, they've all had background checks and fingerprints. But it just so happens on the day you send your child to school, a group of patriots with no background check, no fingerprints, in a state that allows open carry without a license, descends upon your child's school and starts searching your kids' bags and their lockers, going into their schoolrooms to check for banned books. No warning. With the full support of the governor. Welcome to Ron DeSantis' Florida, where he has a private army of people called the Manatee Patriots, who believe they have a mandate by Ron DeSantis, who they are supported by, to go in and search children's books in schools, backpacks, and lockers for banned books that they find offensive. 2 of those books being Michelle Obama's biography and Barack Obama's biography. Yeah, they consider that a banned book. Welcome to Florida.
So basically, Florida is the place where diversity dies. Any inkling of overcoming your circumstances, of beating the system, of enacting equity and equality is taboo. Anything other than the Daughters of the Confederacy / home ec education is a no-no. But you all still believe that this country is so much better than it was 100 years ago, as people continuously try to roll back the hands of time. And what really boggles my mind are the women who are fantasizing about going back in time, because they truly believe that their grandmas and great-grandmothers were happy because they stayed with Papaw for so long, forgetting or not realizing they didn't have a choice. And you have so many white people that are fantasizing because of nostalgic television and nostalgic artwork, that was just the greatest time. For who? Because a lot of people who were considered white in 2023, you roll back the clock, you're no longer considered white. Did you think about that? A lot of the things that you enjoy now in 2023, even as a conservative, you wouldn't be able to enjoy if you roll back the hands of time. See, if you roll back the hands of time, there are certain companies that could send people to your home to make sure you weren't doing certain things. Yes, in your own home. See, you roll back the hands of time, you think Karens of today are bad? Who, the Karens of the morality police of times gone by are way worse, honey. Way worse. You want to be ostracized because you chose the wrong fingernail polish or you planted the wrong tree in your yard? Or you didn't know that you were supposed to know Becky Sue 2 blocks down and you didn't invite her to your party? Yeah. Maybe y'all need to truly leave it to Beaver. And one thing that you all seem to love is the internet. We don't even know how much longer we're going to have access to it, because nobody can predict anything that's going on with this SCOTUS. But let's take a look.
What would happen if we suddenly no longer had access to social media? Well, the answer to that question is hanging on the fate of 26 words. Today, the Supreme Court is set to hear opening arguments for Gonzalez v. Google, and the 26 words that SCOTUS will be debating over is Section 230, aka the 26 words that created the internet. Here's some background on the case. In 2015, 23-year-old American citizen Naomi Gonzalez unfortunately lost her life in the Paris terrorist attacks. Her parents sued Google, YouTube's parent company, because their algorithm recommended videos that aided ISIS in spreading their propaganda. They believe that the protections granted in Section 230 to internet platforms are preventing those platforms from being held responsible, even when they should be. And for reference, here are the 26 words of Section 230. No provider or user of an interactive computer service shall be treated as the publisher or speaker of any information provided by another information content provider. Basically saying that internet and social media platforms are not responsible for the content that their users post. The question that SCOTUS must answer by the end of June is whether or not an internet platform's algorithms and recommendations are protected under Section 230, or if they should be regarded as speech that they could possibly be held liable for. This is an incredibly slippery slope, and according to Google, changing the protections of Section 230 could harm free speech, jeopardize the safety of the internet, and some businesses might reconsider how or what we are able to post. And some businesses may even go as far as to say we shouldn't be able to post on the internet at all, leaving us all to wonder.
How safe is the internet? How safe is social media? And see, there are already politicians that don't want access to certain social media platforms because actual factual information is getting out. People's actual point of views are being put out. You can no longer say that this community is bad, this country is bad, because in real time, you can see the truth of those countries. You can get the news outside of any media outlet. Heck, news media outlets are now looking to social media for some of their biggest stories and for their sources. So still want to roll back the hands of time? It's going to be hard for you Klan members to recruit the way that you have been. I'm sorry, you all have diversified. You now have the Klan, the Proud Boys, the 3%ers. And you all are horrible at picking names. Y'all never catch the double entendres, but if you don't want to use Google, I'm not going to force you. No. Let's do one update on the Fox lawsuit, and then we'll cut to the Black History Month ad. Here we go.
Sean Hannity admitted under oath that he did not believe Donald Trump's election lies for 1 second, yet he still peddled that garbage day after day. He was literally fake news. And now he has Marjorie Taylor Greene on, and he really likes some of her ideas when it comes to civil war.
Greene is saying that a national divorce would empower individual states to form a smaller government, reduce the federal debt, set their own environmental standards, and the Congresswoman has another idea as well, banning people who move from blue states to red states from voting for 5 years so they don't bring their bad politics with them. I actually favor that idea. Anyway, here with more is Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Sean Hannity lives in New York City. Why would he like that idea? That means he couldn't vote if he moved to a red state for 5 years. And Marjorie Taylor Greene lives in Georgia, which went blue. These people have worms for brains, I swear to God.
I don't see middle ground on a lot of these issues. So what is the other answer if it's not a divorce?
Well, exactly, Sean. That's the problem and where we are today. And in my life, in my world, all of my friends are regular Americans. Everyone I talk to is sick and tired and fed up of being bullied by the left, abused by the left, and disrespected by the left. And our ideas, our policies, our ways of life have become so far apart that it's just coming to that point. And the last thing I ever want to see in America is a civil war. No one wants that. At least everyone I know would never want that. But it's going that direction, and we have to do something about it.
You know what? You're right. We don't have the same values. Donald Trump's defense when being accused of rape was that the woman accusing him was too ugly to rape. But that's your hero. Oh God, this is literally sedition. I'm starting to wonder, is the reason why they keep calling this a divorce because they want alimony from blue states? Because they can't run their government without suckling off the teat of blue states. Please tell me more about how Joe Biden hates America.
Black people stand up, feel good. Be proud of yourself as you should. And if you darker than the brown paper bag, wave your fists in the air, time to make these haters mad. They treat us like we came from the sewer, and everything we do, they try to outdo us. We made the traffic light, they write tickets. I ain't got to tell them, they already know where to stick it. We made the subway, they got scepter. Now everybody eating off of that except us. One thing we known for is our bravery, and Paul Kufi was an entrepreneur during slavery. You wonder why we like t-shirts that's white? Maybe because we used to pick cotton in another life. For Granville Woods and Maggie Lena Walker, put your lighters in the air now and spark up. One of the things that they never made clear, why Black History Month the shortest one of the year. Just one of the things that make me think.
Because he said ancient Egyptians were black, and
y'all really weird. Every time I get on TikTok, I see some weird ass shit. So y'all attempting to cancel Kevin Hart in Egypt because he said ancient Egyptians were black. So ancient Egypt, the land of Kemet, which means the land of the blacks, you saying they weren't black. The fuck? So I'm curious, if they weren't black, and from what my limited knowledge tells me that mostly Africans or African Americans are not able to reach back and fetch back and grab their history because it was stolen from us, then why the original Egyptians who weren't black, why they can't connect it back to ancient Kemet? Because Egyptians should be able to connect their history, their ancestral lineage, you know, back, because they ain't go through chattel slavery. They ain't had a history and a culture stole from. So why y'all can't tap back into the original history of ancient Egypt if y'all the ancient Egyptians? Please enlighten me. Also, y'all play dumb mind games. Egypt is the only place that has a science directly related to it. Egyptology. There's no Chinese-tology. There's no Russian-tology. No Greek-tology. No American-tology. No Spanish-tology. Why is that? Because y'all want to control, limit, cipher, and distort the historical information that has came out of Egypt and that is still coming out of Egypt. Y'all would rather attribute the construction of the pyramids to aliens before y'all contributed to us.
Absolutely. I'm not the biggest Kevin Hart fan, but you want to cancel this man for telling the truth. And it still kills me how many people are out here trying to gaslight the rest of us into saying that Egypt is not a part of the continent of Africa. Really? There's even a new theory going around that sarcophagi were never found in pyramids, and pyramids weren't used for burials. And I love that this man pointed out that they never want to give Black people credit for any of our ingenuities, especially pre-chattel slavery. They want to pretend like Black history began with chattel slavery and ended with the civil rights, the beginning of the civil rights era. But here's this. Riddle me this, Batman. If aliens, ancient aliens, were building all these pyramids globally, Why did aliens ignore the superior race? So aliens were out here helping everybody but white folks. And if ancient Egyptians, those from Kemet, weren't black, why were all the black features knocked off of everything? You know, just some questions. Now buckle up, because the GOP out of Alaska has lost their ever-loving mind. Be prepared. This comes with a massive trigger warning.
Here is your thought exercise for today. After hearing what the GOP representative from Alaska said about how children who are abused are better off dead, Donald Trump recently came out and said that child predators should face the death penalty in public. The reason why we don't have the death penalty for child predators and people who abuse children is because statistically they will kill the child rather than let them live. Thusly, the GOP representative who said they should just kill abused children is basically saying, cover your tracks.
What the heck did I just hear?
In the case where child abuse is fatal, obviously it's not good for the child, but it's actually a benefit to society because there aren't needed for government services and whatnot over the whole course of that child's life.
Through the chair, can you say that again? Did you say a benefit for society?
Talking dollars. Now you've got
Yes.
a $1.5 million price tag here for victims of fatal child abuse. It gets argued periodically that it's actually a cost savings because that child is not going to need any of those government services that they might otherwise be entitled to receive and need based on growing up in this type of environment.
Through the chair, Representative, I guess that would be the idea, if I can use a really bad analogy, when you hit somebody, you always back up because it's cheaper to insurance. I don't pertain to that, and I'm really, I'm not even sure how to answer that there's a cost saving to the death of a child. The impact that has on a family and us as a society when a child is lost, especially to child abuse and neglect, is unmeasurable. And it's hugely tragic.
And follow
up.
And the way that you're calculating this 1.5 million, and when I say you, I mean the people who did calculate it, does that 1.5 million get higher or lower depending upon the age at which the child is killed?
So again, there's multiple factors, and a number can definitely increase, but again, I don't believe it's going to matter if they're older or younger. Again, a loss of a child is really unmeasurable.
Well, hey there, y'all. So in today's Fuck Them Kids news, y'all, this salvage store Ken Jennings is Alaska State Representative David Eastman. Round about 7 months ago, he was allowed by a judge to run for re-election despite the fact that he is a member of the Oath Keepers. For anyone not keeping track, the Oath Keepers are a far-right extremist militia that took part in the January 6th insurrection. David here is a big proponent of looking at the silver linings, especially when it comes to child abuse deaths. At a hearing concerning traumatic childhood experiences and how they affect the child over the course of their lives, this is what David had to say. In the case where child abuse is fatal, obviously it's not good for the child, but it's actually a benefit to society because there aren't needs for government services and whatnot over the whole course of that child's life. When stunned attendees asked him to verify what he had just said, he said, "I'm talking dollars." It gets argued periodically that it's actually a cost savings because that child is not going to need any of those government services that they might otherwise be entitled to receive and need based upon growing up in this type of environment. So basically, his argument is fuck them kids, let them die of child abuse and neglect, because then they won't be sucking at the teat of the government anymore, and we won't have to support them with our tax dollars. His comments are in direct opposition to what he put on his website, davideastman.org. On his website, he is very pro-life. Thank you very much. The forceful taking of an innocent human life can never be justified. Life is a gift from the Creator, a gift that all just governments are obliged to protect. Unless that child needs government assistance, and then you know what? Fuck them kids. You know who else we shouldn't have to support with our tax dollars? Republican politicians like David Eastman.
Nothing screams privilege and individualism like a conservative Republican. Every time, and it's generally a white woman, generally, I see online where a white person is sharing their familial experience, like the whole trend of, ask a black person a question, ask a white person a question. And the biggest question that was asked to white people were about cousins, because you don't really hear white people talk about their cousins. And it's like, does everybody just have one child or whatever? But to hear him say that, and the reason why I say that's individualism, because as I keep telling y'all, you don't live to yourself and you don't die to yourself. Even if you decided to go be a hermit today, there's still going to be somebody missing you, somebody yearning for your presence, somebody whose life you have affected. So you're saying if this child, depending on their age, because he thinks that the cost fluctuates by age, would be better for society and the family if they were deceased instead of abused and in needing of social services. So the therapy that their other siblings or other family members may need, it's not a factor. The medical bills, not a factor. The burial cost, not a factor. The other children removed from the home, that cost, not a factor. The cost of keeping those parents, that parent or parents or guardians behind bars, not a factor. The cost of the DA, not a factor. The cost of the public defender, not a factor. The cost of sending counselors to that child's school, daycare, or preschool, not a factor. See, they individualize everything. And they live so comfortably in their privilege that they don't know how to be regular human beings anymore. These are people who still enjoy boarding schools and nannies and mannies and au pairs for their children, but then expect their children to come through and be hands-on with them in their senior years. Conservatives on either side of the aisle, this is precisely what we mean when we say you vote against your own interest, that these people see you no more than dollars and cents. It's not about how well you can live. It's not a matter of can you eat every day. It's not a matter of even can you support your family that they are forcing you to have. It's how can they cut costs so that they can make more money as they still feed you. The corporations are a family. We're a family business. We're one big family. Just work hard. We might pay you $10 an hour, but work as if we pay you $25 an hour. And maybe one day you'll get that high. No, you won't. You won't. They're like, I pulled myself up by the bootstraps with just a small loan. You inherited the family business, the family name, the family connections. Mom and daddy bought you a degree. You barely know how to tie your shoes. We know you don't know how to do the position that is on your business card. Full stop. No, hold on. All right. Let's get into the situation in Ohio a little bit further. Here we go.
The federal government, you would, on an interview I watched, you said straight up that the President Biden said that he would provide aid. I don't think he's done nearly enough, and I think a lot of residents here do, but you said you didn't return the phone call. It seems like it's been thing after thing.
I didn't say that. You know, look, the president called me and said, anything you need. I have not called him back after that conversation. I will not hesitate to do that if we're seeing a problem or anything, but I'm not seeing it.
Why isn't there federal money now for these people to move? Well, there should be, but Governor DeWine has to ask FEMA to come in, and he hasn't done it yet.
You didn't say that?
No, I did not say that at all.
Wow, we just found this footage from 2017 where Donald Trump is bragging about rolling regulations back to 1960s standards and making things like our railroads less safe. Everybody needs to watch this clip in light of what's going on in East Palestine.
We are a nation of explorers and pioneers and innovators and inventors, and regulations have been hurting that and hurting it badly. Let's cut the red tape. Let's set free our dreams, and yes, let's make America great again. And one of the ways we're going to do that is by getting rid of a lot of unnecessary regulation. This is what we have now. This is where we were in 1960. And when we're finished, which won't be in too long a period of time, we will be less than where we were in 1960. 1, 2, 3.
Good morning. Watch this video. Listen carefully.
Right. Speaking of the White House, apparently regulations regarding train safety were changed during the Trump administration. This particular railroad and others lobbied President Trump to dismantle an Obama-era rule that would have required railroads to update their braking systems. And apparently the Obama administration had pushed for it to govern transportation of hazardous materials after about 500,000 barrels of crude were dumped. But ultimately, the Trump administration undid that and said the costs exceeded the benefits.
This is entirely Trump's fault because he was so easily bought by corporate lobbyists. And here he is admitting it. This is why when asked about Buttigieg and the train, he immediately pivoted to airplanes. Yeah, the people in East Palestine were just ecstatic to see him. He gave them Goya beans, Trump water, that was discontinued in 2010, and MAGA hats at McDonald's.
Feel free to call me the all-seeing eye, Nostradamus. Then again, I am black, so I suppose y'all could call me Nixtradamus. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Anywho, recently I made this video talking about how Trump was bashing Joe Biden for taking an impromptu trip to Ukraine, while Trump was taking a trip over to East Palestine, Ohio, which is experiencing an environmental disaster. In that video, I had the audacity to suggest that Trump was doing it mainly for good PR heading into his 2024 presidential campaign. Not that he necessarily needed it in Ohio, because it's Ohio, but he would need it as it pertains to the rest of America. And surprise, surprise, it's worse than I thought. I came across this article with the headline, Trump uses East Palestine visit to promote his own brand of bottled water. The ex-president took Trump spring water to an Ohio town reeling from a derailment disaster along with some water he said was of, quote, a much lesser quality. If you're a bit hesitant to believe that is true, why don't you trust me? Is it because I'm black? Do I look trustable now? Let's just play the clip.
Because we're bringing thousands of bottles of water, Trump water actually, most of it. Some of it we had to go to a much lesser quality water. You want to get those Trump bottles, I think, more than anybody else. But we're bringing a lot of water.
This man, Donald J. Trump, was born with no shame. Now, The Independent noted that it couldn't immediately verify what percentage of the bottles donated by Trump were branded with his name, but the fact of the matter is he brought water there branded with his name. Some people say I'm very biased against Trump. I prefer to look at it as I just tell the truth. I'm very good at following patterns. I've seen enough politicians play this game to know what their end goal is. I don't stick my head in the sand. I have common sense. And it's Trump. Like, this is his MO, you know? It's really not that surprising. I got my fingers crossed that Trump does not get back in the White House, because I've said it once, 10, 100 times, I will say it again. If he wins, I'm leaving. I might even go as far as to say I would be done with America. As WWE Shelton Benjamin's theme song used to say, ain't no stopping me now. Ain't no stopping my ass from going to Canada.
If you're bringing water to a place where residents fear their water has been contaminated, don't tell them some of the water is of lesser quality. And number two, Trump water has been discontinued for 13 years. He must have had some sitting in a storage shed somewhere.
Some of the incredible people that helped us, because we're bringing thousands of bottles of water, Trump water, actually, most of it. Some of it we had to go to a much lesser quality water. You want to get those Trump bottles, I think, more than anybody else. But we're bringing a lot of water.
Now, I told you all he was not giving people cases of water each. And he brought them 17-year-old water. And his biggest concern for these people is that they had to bring lesser quality water. Sir, your water was discontinued. Let me repeat that. Your water was discontinued. You may slap spring water on there, but I'm pretty sure it was tap. And his little propaganda trip is working, because all of his sycophants, those that remain, are still acting like he came through and saved the day. I can't. Oh Lord. Oh Lord. So Fox News is now complaining about another company going woke. Y'all, it's Lego. It's Lego. I don't even know how to describe this to you all. Just take a look.
According to Fox News, yet another company is going woke. Who is it this time? Lego.
Lego is going woke. The company unveiling a range of new characters in the effort to be more inclusive. Lego says the new characters will promote diversity and understanding. Some will have anxiety issues. I don't know how you show that. One will have a missing limb, another Down syndrome. These are really important issues.
Yeah.
Do you want Lego in there?
Definitely not. But what's so fascinating about this story is the divide in the country. Republicans think it's insane that they're forcing identity politics into Legos. Democrats are upset that they didn't make a drag queen stripper. They're like, you call this a children's toy? What kind of set is this? No, it shouldn't be going on the way it's going on. But the reason they force identity into toys is because they think identity comes with a built-in political orientation. And that's what they're after here. I'm not having it.
Wow. I just want to build, like, I have a Lego set that builds the White House.
Yeah, no, imagine that.
I bet your coontastic self does. It's not identity politics. Allowing children to see themselves represented in the toys that are pivotal in their development is not identity politics. So what is wrong with a child with Down syndrome who loves Legos being able to see themselves in a Lego set? what is wrong with a child who happens to be an amputee who also loves Legos singing? See, they went on to say that Legos and Play-Doh are to determine which kids to keep an eye on and which kids are going to be smart. Like, if they can build with them, they're smart. If they eat them, they're stupid. They're just kids either way. And they're also adults, as that Coontastic Coalition member stated, that enjoy Legos. There are Lego sets that are collectibles. Why not make them include? What is so wrong about inclusivity? Maybe because his country was founded on exclusivity. And a certain subsect does not want to share that exclusivity. So they thought that they were going to have an eternal club of just them. Guess they missed the memo that nobody's buying into eugenics anymore, huh? But guess who else is anti-inclusion? Governor Greg Abbott. Before you ask, doesn't he need inclusion? Yes. Like I said, they love privilege and they love individualism above all else. Because let us not forget, this is the same man who became wealthy when he became paralyzed, then moved for the legislation so no one else could get a settlement as large as his. And he's at it again.
Story time. So what we saw is that recently Texas Governor Greg Abbott's office has notified state agencies that the use of diversity, equity, inclusion initiatives in hiring is illegal. So trying to make sure that the state agencies are representative of the people that they are helping is illegal. And I think this also speaks to so much privilege. Why do you ask that? Give me a second. Because Greg Abbott is in a wheelchair. And so the privilege this has is that I can make laws because I know that they will not affect me. I will get whatever I need. That reeks and is a painful privilege. Absolutely painful privilege. That someone who actually needs inclusion, who has had to probably push forth with ADA, does not care. What he's saying is that, yeah, it will affect people who are in wheelchairs like me, but I don't care because I'm going to get what I need and screw y'all. And so what we also see is white women who complain about DEI efforts. And they explicitly complain about affirmative action, right? That race should not be something involved in hiring, that affirmative action should be destroyed. And this is where they shoot themselves in the foot because affirmative action has benefited white women the most. Even though it was made for black and brown people, white women have been the biggest beneficiary of it. And really, it is great for white women, so why do they hate it? Because of the race part. What I have seen is that anything tied to race, people will hate and people will be unwilling to do, even if it benefits them so much like it does with affirmative action. Affirmative action has increased white women doctors, lawyers, accountants, you name it. White women have been beneficiaries of affirmative action in so many aspects. But because they only think of affirmative action as race, they want it destroyed. Not realizing, baby, that when you ruin affirmative action, you also ruin your opportunities. That you are tied to us. And if they ain't gonna hire us, they ain't gonna hire you. But you think because of that connection to race that they still will. And they're not going to. They're not gonna hire you. If you keep
I've said it before and let me say it again. White supremacy hurts everyone. Let me remind you all of this again. What you now know as amusement parks that you have to pay now exorbitant prices to go with your family used to be a regular old city park. Want to know why that no longer exists? Racism. And then capitalism grabbed hold of it. But see, anytime you talk about bringing equity to all of the races in a country that markets itself to the globe as being a melting pot for everyone, bring us your what? Bring us your who? Bring it to where? They just mean bring us who we can move the goalpost for and bring into whiteness so that they can continue to skew statistics, so that they can continue to spackle the foundation of racism. Now, I touched on this before in another episode about the Ohio Nazi homeschoolers. Well, as always, we do have an update. But real quick, before we get to that update, former Vice President Mike Pence is trying hard not to testify regarding Trump's self-coup, even though he was put in harm's way, his life was in danger, and he even refused to go with Secret Service agents that day because they were not his normal Secret Service detail. But coming from CBSNews.com, special counsel asked judge to compel Mike Pence to testify in January 6th probe. Federal prosecutors have asked the chief judge in Washington, D.C.'s federal court to compel former Vice President Mike Pence to comply with a grand jury subpoena and testify as a witness in special counsel Jack Smith's investigation into the events surrounding the January 6, 2021 attack on the Capitol. 3 people familiar with the investigation told CBS News. The motion to compel Pence's testimony, filed in secret to Chief Judge Beryl Howell in recent days, came after lawyers for former President Donald Trump asserted executive privilege in response to Pence's subpoena, the People said. That assertion of executive privilege on Pence's subpoena, the People added, is in line with how Trump's team has responded to related subpoenas over the last year, with Trump's attorneys often arguing that private conversations or interactions with the president should remain confidential. Here's a problem. Isn't virtually everything at the White House recorded? So how much privacy are you expecting? And we're not talking about international security or divulging national secrets. Everybody else has already talked about these conversations. And Merrick Garland, take a page out of Jack Smith's book. Get the ball rolling. Stop letting them slide with these executive No. Because us regular folks, if we ignore a subpoena, there's no amount of excuses in the world that would save us. And you know it. Now on to the Nazi homeschoolers. I wish this was satire, but it's not.
We found the Nazis, here's the Nazis, take a look and see them here. We found the Nazis, they're grooming children, stomp a Nazi, save the world.
And coming from Vice.com, who originally brought us this story, neo-Nazi homeschoolers defend their wholesome pro-Hitler network. I can't. But hold on. Let's pull their picture up so as I go through this article, everybody can see exactly who we're talking about. Oops. No thanks. There we go. There we go. So I hate when these things pop up. There we go. So, the Ohio couple at the center of the Nazi homeschooling scandal have spoken publicly about their online community of Hitler-loving parents and have defended their actions as just extra fun and so wholesome. Predictably, they have also blamed Antifa for negative coverage of their pro-Hitler homeschooling network. When are people going to catch on that Antifa just stands for anti-fascism and it's an ideology? Anywho. Katja and Logan Lawrence were unmasked last month as a couple running the dissident homeschool network from their home in Upper Sandusky, Ohio, in reports from Vice News and HuffPost, which were based on a report from the anti-fascist research group known as the Anonymous Comrades Collective. Starting in late 2021, the couple ran a now-deleted Telegram channel with over 2,500 members and shared their own classroom resources, weaving Hitler quotes, anti-Semitic themes, and white supremacist ideologies into their math lessons and homework assignments. Are you all now catching the projection? Remember when they were claiming that people were slipping CRT into studies and putting political indoctrination into math, and projection. In their first public comments since they were unmasked, the Lawrences staunchly defended their actions. Now, if this is so wholesome and lighthearted fun, why were they hiding? Because if you all remember from the last time I covered this, they had fake names and were hiding their faces and everything. But we see you now, boo-boos. We see you now. The chat was so wholesome, Katja Lawrence told the Nazi-promoting website Justice Report in an interview published on Monday. It was mostly homeschooling moms that were lifting each other up when things got difficult. You need Nazi propaganda to lift each other up? In reality, the content shared in the channel was deeply racist, including a lesson planned to mark the birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. last month that described the assassinated civil rights leader as a deceitful, dishonest, riot-inciting Negro. Oh, that's so fun. The Lawrences blasted the mainstream media for cherry-picking the neo-Nazi aspects of their lessons plan, claiming these were just fun extras they added to the regular curriculum they taught their 4 children. Neo-Nazi curriculum. We were deliberately made to look very unappealing, Katja Lawrence said. You knew you looked unappealing. That's why you were hiding. It is unsurprising that the Lawrences decided to give their first interview to Justice Report, given it is linked to the National Justice Party, a white supremacist group that was a member of the dissident homeschool channel. Katja Lawrence also encouraged her members to join their local pool party, which is the name for the NJP, the name the NJP gives to its real-world meetups for neo-Nazis. The Lawrences told Justice Report that they were concerned about potential attacks against them and their children based on posts made by Antifa accounts on social media. But the Lawrences also confirmed that no one had approached them or made any actionable threats in person. Because only white supremacists do that. Only bigots do that. Only homophobes and transphobes do that. They make it a point of just targeting people and doxing them and inflicting fear and physical harm. The revelations about the Nazi homeschooling group led to a review by the Ohio Department of Education. However, the state found that the Lawrences were doing nothing illegal and indicated there was nothing the department could do about it. Is anybody shocked that a state in which Mike DeWine is the governor, that this is what they would find? I'm not. In the interview with the Justice Report, Logan Lawrence said the reason he and his wife decided to homeschool their children after her eldest child had spent 4 years in public school was because the system is very anti-white and we just wanted a positive image for our kids. So a positive white image is a negative everybody else image. Got it. But last year, Katja Lawrence told a neo-Nazi podcast that the reason she started the group was because she was having a rough time finding Nazi-approved school material for her homeschooled children. In their interview with Justice Report, the couple also criticized the public school system and made some wild allegations about their local schools. Our middle school has reportedly had incidents of kids having sex inside the hallways. Do they know how sex works? Katja Lawrence said, middle school. While I want my kids to be able to make their own choices, no, you don't. I want to shield them from certain things. Yeah, diversity. I want my kids to grow up to be straight, married, and Christian. Newsflash, you have no control over that. She claimed a student in one of her daughter's classes threw a chair at a teacher. Sounds about white. Vice News asked the superintendent of the Upper Sandusky Exempted Village School District for comment on these allegations, but did not receive a response before publication because there was no response to give. There was no there was no response to give. Like, BFFR, come on, let's be all the way for real with this one. Yeah, okay. But from one problematic fascist to the next, you all remember beauty influencer Jeffree Starr, who decided to make a reemergence because of mascara gate on TikTok. And now, just take a look at this, and I'll break it down on the other side. See you in 2 and 2. Y'all know how we do.
How are you a they? What the f does that mean?
Jeffree Starr is threatening to sue media outlets that claim he's transphobic after making what some fans are calling disgusting comments in a new interview.
I'm gonna file a lawsuit because you are lying on my name.
It's a mess. We'll catch you up. Controversial YouTuber and beauty guru Jeffree Starr is back, and this time he's exposing fellow beauty gurus.
You've woken up the motherfucking beast.
Teasing Super Bowl player boyfriends and dragging non-binary individuals.
I'm not into all the other bullshit. What other bullshit? The they and them.
On February 14th, Jeffree Starr sat down with NFL player Taylor Newham, revealing he doesn't believe in non-binary identities and claiming pronouns were made up out of boredom during the pandemic.
Conservative vibe to you. Them. You're male or you're female. How are you a they? What the f does that mean? It's stupid is what it is.
Yeah. Just days after making these comments, the story was picked up by news outlets. And now, Jeffree is threatening to sue anybody that claims he is transphobic.
You know what I'm not gonna do? Back down from my opinion, from science, from facts. And what we're not gonna do is lie on my name. So anyone creating a lie, meaning the media outlet, I'm gonna Cardi B you. I'm gonna file a lawsuit because you are lying on my name. I just went on and I saw a few outlets saying that I'm transphobic. Jeffree Starr, who has 5 transgender employees. So if you posted an article saying anything like that, you better delete it, Miss Thing, because I'm coming.
Many fans are calling Jeffree out for supposedly contradicting himself in a bid for attention, because just months ago, he stated on the Impulsive podcast that he identifies as a male using he/him pronouns.
What's my gender?
You identify as he/he.
Yeah, bro.
But in a video with Shane Dawson from 2018, when asked how he identifies,
I keep calling you she on accident.
Okay.
Like Andrew was like, wait, is Jeffree or what's happening?
Jeffree states,
I'm just Jeffree. Everyone calls me he, she, whatever they want.
So that's fine. Every pronoun is okay.
Every pronoun.
Okay, great.
One user commented, I hate how Jeffree is making a comeback after the mascara and NFL boyfriend drama. This attack on non-binary people is not okay, especially after he's completely contradicted his own statement from years ago.
Every pronoun is okay.
Every pronoun.
Jeffree has been tangled in nothing but controversy ever since making his social media comeback. Weeks leading up to this drama, Jeffree was teasing a potential NFL boyfriend online, causing many fans to speculate over who the mystery man could be. But it now looks like this could have all just been one major plot to promote this new controversial interview, after revealing that his secret NFL boyfriend was actually Taylor Newham, the person interviewing Jeffree.
Everyone thought that I was sleeping with you, but I'm really one of your friends.
Now, let's not forget that there's also a soundbite of Jeffree Starr going around saying the reasons why conservatives love him. See, conservatism is a moneymaker, and controversy is the name of the game when it comes to Jeffree Starr. This is just a new PR strategy for Jeffree, because you can't, I'm sorry, I cannot take a gender neutral person seriously that spews hatred. Just like there is a trans woman on TikTok that is a self-proclaimed conservative that is doing everything to the strides that the trans community has made, and blatantly lying to those that are just praising her in her comment section because it's lucrative. It's a moneymaker. But at what cost? But I guess everybody wants to be Caitlyn Jenner. Minus the murdering. Well, I guess. Now, major trigger warning in this one. This does involve police brutality.
This video is being made for educational purposes. Having said that, trigger warning in this one. Have y'all seen this video? I'm gonna censor part of this for reasons, but nonetheless, watch this.
Let me see your hands. Let me see your hands. Get your hands out of your pockets. Turn up your change, bud.
Excuse me?
You're being detained, bud.
What am I doing?
Take your backpack off.
Can you explain what this is
Before
for?
you go on the ground, take your backpack off.
I'm going to get picked up for work. Sir.
Put your hands behind your back.
This is my phone. Are you telling me what this is about?
You're being detained for a minute. You're matching the description of someone trying to break into people's cars.
I'm not breaking anyone's car. Sir!
You dumb bastard.
Oh, please help me! Shut the up.
Get up.
I'm going to work!
Do y'all want to know what happened to this guy? There are multiple articles about it. The man's name, I believe, is pronounced Tyler Canaris, and he suffered a broken collarbone, broken hand, a ruptured eardrum, a skull fracture, and a concussion as a result of being power slammed to the ground by the police officer. He said that he is now having trouble at work and is facing $75,000 worth of medical bills. Not to mention, that bunch of nothing warranted him getting charged with obstruction. And the deputy involved was identified as Michael McMaster. Tyler's attorney, Sean Williams and Taurus Butterfield, are asking that McMaster be terminated immediately and for the obstruction charges to be dropped. Not only is McMaster's nickname McTaser, wonder how he got that, but apparently the only warning he got was about his harsh language and the audio equipment on his car. In a statement from Williams, the Paulding County Sheriff's Department covered this up and did nothing about it until the video came out, as if that's a surprise to anybody. And they plan to file a civil suit against McMaster and the county. They are also asking for the Department of Justice to investigate the incident. That video is so disturbing. I don't understand why police think doing that is okay. I don't know what y'all saw in that video, but from my perspective, Tyler barely resisted, if that, and then the officer grabbed him and caused $75,000 worth of damage. Not to mention, they had the wrong guy! That officer should not only be terminated, he should never be allowed to be an officer again. He should be charged with assault. Deputy McMaster could have easily taken Tyler's life. He's lucky he didn't. Tyler said that this incident has shaken his trust in law enforcement, and he said, quote, "I always thought they were there to protect us." To that I say, welcome to the real world, Tyler. The police are domestic terrorists. They're bullies who rock a badge, who think they can do whatever they want, and they will go through you if you do not comply, even if you are within your rights. I hope McMaster gets fired, I hope he is found guilty, and I really hope Tyler gets a buttload of money.
Are you seeing a pattern? See, they are getting so brazen that they don't even care if you're a minority anymore. But are you seeing a pattern? They told him to take his hands out of his pockets when his hands never entered his pockets. They get full descriptions of assailants and are never able to properly match them up. There are kindergarten students that can match things up better than they can. But you know what's more than likely going to happen with McTaser? Take a look at this next story.
Small Thurston County city of Tenino.
I'd like to introduce Officer Christopher Backus.
City leaders recently welcomed a new face.
Hi.
The new Tenino officer, Christopher Backus, is a former Tukwila police officer. His personnel files show after a successful 3-year career there, he resigned.
I had a leave of absence from law enforcement for a few years. I'm just happy to be here and getting back into what I actually love to do. Thank you for joining.
At this public kickoff for his new job, there's something Backus isn't talking about. his troubled history as a cop, and the extreme lengths he and his former employer took to keep it a secret. This is dashcam video from a 2015 police call, the first of several where bosses found Backus was out of line. A 911 call came in from this Tukwila McDonald's saying a group of black teenagers were, quote, destroying things. Police photos show part of a milkshake on the wall, more on the floor.
It's McDonald's, that's where all kids hang out.
Marcus Tops was there with his friends. He was 18 at the time.
I saw a police officer come in, one leading the charge.
I don't know.
He went straight for them.
Officer Backus was the first one in. Records show. Without asking questions, he tackled and punched this 15-year-old boy named Marquez Riddle.
We just seen them get pounded on. We don't even know why.
I'm sitting there walking to the bathroom.
Police audio caught Marquez telling Officer Backus he was the wrong guy.
Yeah, got blood on my nose and over. What did I do? Because you didn't listen to what I told you to do. All right, but look, what did I do? Why am I arrested? Why am I in handcuffs? Because I gotta call it. You guys are destroying the place. That was, what the hell? You didn't see the run? Call the manager. He'll tell you that it's not me, my. What the hell?
The night ended with Marquez in the back of a cop car with a bloody nose and charges of obstructing, attempted assault, and resisting arrest.
Officer makes mistake. I go to juvie for it.
In Backus's police report, he justified his actions, writing, "I feared Marquez was going to assault me." But when the city opened an internal probe, the officer's story fell apart. Investigators found not only did the cop grab the wrong person and use excessive force, but Backus falsified reports that his version was a clear contradiction of what officials saw on surveillance video.
There's nothing that can justify his actions at all.
All charges against Marquez were dismissed.
Backus's problems didn't end at this McDonald's. In the span of only 5 months the next year, there were 3 more incidents that led his bosses to conclude his excessive force had become a pattern.
Disciplinary records show at a Tukwila bus stop in 2016, Backus used a taser on a man who wasn't actively resisting arrest. And outside this bowling alley, records show he failed to report he shoved a teen headfirst into a planter and threatened to use his taser. 8 days later, investigators say Backus inappropriately tased a drunk homeless man.
Using a taser is a pretty elevated use of force. And so that was his initial reaction to people who were not resisting or who were passively resisting is really concerning.
The Tukwila Police Department had enough. In 2017, they fired Officer Backus.
So what should have happened from here? Police accountability experts would tell you that disciplinary history should have followed Backus for the rest of his career. So how did he end up with a clean slate, with paperwork showing he quit on his own?
This is the document that made it happen. A 2018 settlement agreement with Tukwila PD. In exchange for Backus's resignation, the city took all their findings of misconduct and reversed them. And they threw out from his personnel file all traces of those records, including the fact that he got fired.
Then you pay him out as well?
After wiping his record clean, Tukwila paid Officer Backus $75,000 to leave the department and remain quiet under a confidentiality clause.
In my judgment, that was just inappropriate.
Daryl Stevens is a former police chief and a national expert in police leadership.
Everything the police do is subject to being reviewed by someone.
On the phone, Backus declined an interview. He told us his legal deal with Tukwila doesn't allow it. Tukwila officials declined to explain their decision to settle.
What upsets you about this settlement agreement?
They're settling out with the wrong people. You guys messed up, so you guys should be trying to crawl over broken glass for the people you affected.
Officer makes mistake. I go to juvie for it.
Remember Marquez Riddle from McDonald's?
Right back in that moment, I was furious.
We found him, living in Nevada, now 23 years old.
Yeah, so sad.
It's been 8 years. This is the first time he saw the video of himself as a teenager in the back of the cop car.
It's really traumatizing.
We told him the cop who punched and arrested him that night struck a deal.
And just to know how I felt in that moment, I was so mad I probably couldn't even cry in that moment. Yeah. Stuff was heavy.
In the wake of the city's silence, police accountability experts say this is most likely what happened. Police departments will turn to settlements to avoid scandal, union fights, and lawsuits.
When that's on the table, that's a really kind of expensive and time-consuming process for the police department. So oftentimes they're going to say, what's the easiest way we can get rid of this officer?
After me, please.
I, Christopher Backus.
Back in Tenino.
I, Christopher Backus, do solemnly swear.
Last month, Backus swore in as a full-time Tenino police officer.
Officer Backus, do you have anything you'd like to say?
It was a long road to get back into law enforcement, and so, I'm very appreciative of the chief, and it's nice getting back into doing what you love instead of just doing a job to be a job.
Congratulations. Thank you. And welcome to Tenino.
There's one more thing about Tukwila. This Backus incident was not a one-off. We found 2 other deals where they agreed to wipe and change disciplinary records for officers with a troubled past.
Still think that they're here to protect and serve, even though the Supreme Court of the United States says that they have no duty to do that? Still think that they're not power hungry? Interesting. But as always, thank you for joining me here for Think About It Thursdays on Conversations with Taz. I will see you all tomorrow for Freeform Friday. And as always, make sure you check out the links in the description of this video and the very first comment on this video, or you can go to the link in the bio. If you're watching this through YouTube, I have placed additional Black History Month resources for anyone who wants to begin or continue their journey into learning Black history in the Camp Taz blog. And as always, each one teach one, each one reach one. Till tomorrow, y'all.
B-I-G-G-I-E, a.k.a. B.I.G. Get it? Biggie, also known as the Bon Appetit. Rappers can't sleep, need sleeping. Big keep creeping, bullets heat seeking. Casualties need treating, dumb rappers need teaching. Listen, A, don't speak with B.I. That's that, O.I. Thought he was whack, well come now. Why y'all so dumb now? Hunt me or be hunted. I got 357 ways to simmer saute. I'm the winner all day. Lights get dimmer down Biggie's hallway. My forte causes Caucasians to say he sounds demented, hardly censored. If I said it, I meant it. Bite my tongue for no one. Call me evil or unbelievable. Brand new funk. Biggie's causes brand new funk. Biggie's causes unbelievable.